Hey guys, Zach here. Let me tell you, it was really tough for me not to do a video on this blade right when I got it last week, but I wanted to carry it over the weekend and break it in a little bit before I gave you some of my initial impressions on the Wilson Combat Les George collaboration of the Eagle flipper. You can see there, give you just a quick peek at it. You've probably seen it online already if you're a knife guy like myself. Just some real brief specs on this flipper. It is obviously, I said it was a Wilson Combat and Les George collaboration. I think it's going to be a limited production model, like a lot of the ones Wilson Combat put out are. So I'm not sure how many are going to be out there, but I think it's going to be kind of special in that it would be limited edition. It's a Carpenter steel Carpenter steel CTH XHP blade steel, which some folks like to liken to a stainless D2 steel. So it is a tool steel with a hardness of around 60. It has a 3.6 inch blade length, and it has a very subtle slight recurve. Obviously the handle scales are titanium with the Wilson Combat Starburst pattern. Pocket clip is set for tip up or tip down right hand carry, and it has a lanyard hole here. Okay, one other thing, it's about 4.8 ounces, so it's a pretty light package for the size you're getting here. It feels really light too. It feels actually lighter than 4.8 ounces, at least to me. Maybe just because it's not a very bulky knife overall. It's very thin. You can see in some other videos that are online, it's complete open architecture. You only have two standoffs here in the rear, and then your pivot, and inside there's a captured, inside of here near the pivot, there's a captured blade stop. And it kind of does double duty, and I'll show you what I mean here. If I get it right up to the camera, you might be able to see it, but there is a slot right there. So the blade stop, that little pin, a little standoff pin that's captured right in here, rides in that little slot. So it keeps the blade on track when you're flipping it, and then it also acts as the stop pin at when the blade is completely open and completely closed. It also bumps there. So that's kind of neat. It helps save a lot of the weight on the knife itself. And you know, for being as thin as it is, I gotta say it really does. I was a little concerned that from some of the initial videos I saw on YouTube that it was going to be kind of flimsy because of how thin it was and because of the lack of hardware in the thing, but it feels really solid. Locks up tight, no side to side, no up and down, no lock rock, nothing like that. The locking mechanism, lock bar here is, oh, it's so easy. It's so easy to do one-handed, to unlock. Probably one of the nicest ones on my thumb from playing with it. You know, my thumb, I've been playing with this thing all weekend and my thumb isn't all beat to hell, so that should be a good impression of how smooth this lock is to operate. You've got a nice early lockup. You can see here. I get us right up to the camera. Get it to focus. Nice, really nice early lockup. So you'll have a little bit of life to it there. Just a little subtle touch. You got your sharpening relief edge here, your little cutout, so you can sharpen. Decent jimping on the top. I don't own, or nor have I owned, a VECP, but I know that some of the criticisms with those is sometimes that this jimping is not very sharp and almost unfunctional. This jimping is not the sharpest jimping on, you know, it's not, if I were to compare it to a 0560, it's not as sharp as an 0560 by any means, but I think it is actually adequately sharp enough for what you're going to be doing with this guy. Fills the hand, at least my hand, because it's so wide this way. It's got a nice height to it. it fills your hand very nicely, at least mine. And again, I wear a size large glove, so I don't have the smallest hands ever. So it doesn't feel like it's lacking in the ergonomics department at all, at least for me, in my opinion. Back to the recurve. The recurve, I'm normally not at all really a recurve fan. Sharpening, yeah, but I don't know, sometimes the aesthetics to a recurve really doesn't appeal to me. But in this one, it's really so subtle. It's such a subtle recurve, you can see it there, that it's actually neat. I like it quite a bit. Not just because this, you know, this is a high-end, very expensive knife, but and that I've purchased it and that I now own it. But really, I do not mind that recurve at all. In fact, I do like it. I did just some light cutting, cardboard packages and stuff with it over the weekend. Of course, it arrives extremely sharp, as you would expect. You can see the blade here. Not a real thick chunk of the Carpenter steel, but more than adequate. Now they say on the website that it rides on pure Teflon bearings for a lifetime of smooth, glassy operation. Now I'm not sure about those bearings. I'm not even sure exactly how they work or what they look like. I haven't had this thing apart yet. But so far, initial impressions, this thing is incredibly smooth. I mean, it has just about as perfect of a detent as you could want on a flipper. I call it like the Goldilocks point on a detent, where, you know, it's not too strong that you're breaking your index finger off trying to flip, and you have to have a whole lot of wrist action to flip the blade open, but also not too light where you can just shake the blade out, and, you know, you need that positive detent to give you that good smooth flipping action. You can see here, if I just hold it without any wrist flick, I screwed it up there because I've got the camera in my face, but without any wrist flick, just a little bit of index finger flick, I can flick that baby right open. So that's pretty much it. I only had a couple of minor criticisms with it, at least for me, from my opinion. I would have liked this tip-up clip to be oriented kind of like it would be tipped down here. See how the holes are right here? So I could carry it a bit deeper, and maybe have the lanyard hole go through the pocket clip. I don't know. I just personally like to carry all my blades deep carry. I don't find that I have an issue getting them out of my pocket at all. So that's a real minor criticism. And secondly, I would have liked to have the George logo on it somewhere, maybe instead of this giant eagle logo here, underneath here, or maybe even on the sanitary side of the blade would have been cool. But that's really it. I mean, after playing with it for a couple days, I did have to readjust the pivot. I got a little bit of wobble in it. The pivot is I think it has blue Loctite in it, but it was set very loosely. So I readjusted it, found the sweet spot again between too tight and too loose, and Loctited it right in place. So not an issue there, but you can just, it's just really fun to play with. You can just play with this thing all day, and it doesn't beat up your fingers. It just, oh, it's so nice. So if you're looking for a bulky knife, if you're looking for a really robust, beefy tank of a knife, this is not it. Not to say that this isn't a very strong blade, because it is. I mean, it locks up solid. There's no shake or wobble or anything in it anywhere. But if you're the kind of person that likes a really wide, fat blade stock and a really wide handle, you're not going to like this one. You're not going to like this one. From the videos I've seen online already, it's even more narrow than a VECP, and here I'll show you with the Umnumzan. If I put it up to the Umnumzan, kind of what you can see, it's even thinner than the Umnumzan here, thinner and lighter. Of course, one other thing, it does come with this little bit of lanyard, little Wilson Combat lanyard, and I'm not a big lanyard fan. I like a lanyard on a knife that I'm going to use for display purposes, nice titanium beads or whatever on it, Starling Gear stuff. But for one I'm going to carry in my pocket, the lanyard just bangs against the knife, and you know, it gets twatted up in my pocket, and I'm not a big fan of it. But anyway, that is my initial impressions on this thing, and I'm really loving it. If you're looking for a lightweight, thin, high-end knife, or if you just want to add this one to your collection because it's kind of special, I'd say go ahead and pick one up. Anyway, have a good one, guys. Later.